The year 2020 was a tough enough year for anyone, and let's just see if we can't make it a bit better for ourselves, okay? So if you're still having trouble trying to find a good New Year's resolution to pick out, worry not, because I've got your back. Today I'll be giving you my top 10 New Year's resolutions for 2021, and let's just see if we can't just bring up and just improve that mental state. Okay, so at this point I think it's important to put a small disclaimer in here. I am not a trained medical or mental health professional. The content on this channel comes from my own personal experiences and what has helped with my own personal mental health. And it's also derived from my own personal research. If you have any concerns about your mental health, I would strongly suggest consulting a mental health or medical professional like a therapist or a GP. Okay, so with all that being said, if you do like what you see on my channel and what you see in my videos, I'd like you to consider liking them, subscribing to my channel for more of the same, and clicking that notification bell to keep up with the latest content. It really does all help against the algorithm, and it also helps support your favourite YouTubers to grow the channels. Now, with all that being said, let's begin, shall we? Greetings, my name is Nigel Mayo and welcome to my channel Salad Cream Boy. Again, today we'll be going through my top 10 suggestions of what to make a New Year resolution for 2021. Because let's just face it, it's gonna make you anxious enough to just try and think up of a list, right? Well, worry not, Salad Cream Boy has your back. So one of the things about anxiety and depression and anything like it is that it makes it very difficult to take that first step. But I promise you, once you make that first step, it's going to be so much easier to make that second, third, fourth, and then just keep going. Soon enough, you'll be running. But I don't want you to feel that if you don't do anything on my list, or if you do pick something on there, or even if you just pick something to do yourself, and you don't follow it through, that it's all just going to be for nothing. These are just suggestions, and if you just keep an open mind, you might just find that these would just make life a little bit easier for yourself. So without any further ado, my top 10 New Year's resolutions for 2021 that will hopefully improve your mental state. I know it's easier said than done, but rather than negatively just focusing on the time and all that is going to do is just do your own head in. Instead, why not just try to, figure it out, understand it a bit better, try and think about the things that might trigger you or just might start you off or anything like that. And once you've done that, try and seek out help and how to try and manage it. There's no shame in that. And rather than dwell upon it, own it. If you have any of those people in your life that have your best interests at heart, it's way better to open up and actually talking about what's on your mind as opposed to bottling it in all the time. Not only that once you've done this that you'll feel that you don't have the whole weight of the world on your shoulders, but it's one of those things, it's a problem shared, problem halved, and you just feel a little bit better about it. And also, it's just that first step to getting help. Remember, they would rather have a friend that talks to them about the problems as opposed to, losing them. So if you're one of those people who you're kind of like a mother hen, you have a lot of people that depend on you, you're always offering a shoulder to cry on, or you're just simply a busybody for others, just remember, you can do too much. You can't help others when you can't help yourself. If you truly need that time for yourself, then just take it. The whole world won't fall apart without you. So, just sit down, breathe, and just take that time for yourself. Because all you're going to really do in the long run is just burn out and you're no use to anyone. And more importantly, you're no use to yourself. This might not be for everyone, but you know, if it works for you, why the hell not? At the very least, it's worth a try. For a lot of people, it is just so good for the mind, body and soul. And you know what, there are just hundreds, thousands, millions of videos out there that will cover it, whether it be a masterclass, whether it will be a tutorial, or whether it's a live stream where you can just get involved and just get in there. Try it. What have you really got to lose? It's like that old saying, healthy body, healthy mind. And you know what, even if it's just a little thing like walking around the block, whether it's getting on the treadmill, whether it's just jumping on up and down, whether it's just walking on the spot, a good 15 minutes, that's all it takes. 15 minutes a day, just get up and start doing something. Even chores, doing the vacuuming, just do the whole house once over. Even if it's spotless already, just do it. 15 minutes of physical activity a day will do you wonders. And you know what, if the first time's hard, don't worry about it. The second time, third time, fourth time, the more you do it, the easier it will become. It's like anything, repetition, repetition, repetition. And not just that, the more times that you do it, the more energy you will have in the long run. And you know what, at the very least, it'll kill some time and it's a bit of an escape. We all have those things that makes us uncomfortable, whether it's opening that door and just stepping outside, whether it's, I don't know, conflict with other people that you just need to get out the way, but you're finding it so difficult to do it. Even if it's just picking up the phone and talking to someone. It might be the hardest thing in the world to do, but once you actually start doing it, it will feel so much better. And again, the more you do it, just like exercise, just like any other activity, the more that you expose yourself to things that might make you feel uncomfortable, the more you do it, the easier it will become every time. Again, like anything else, it's repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay, I'm not asking you to do anything that's going to trigger you or anything that's going to push you into a panic attack or anything like that, but let's just say, okay, baby steps, just one tiny step at a time. And like I said earlier, take the first step, second, etc, etc. Soon enough, you'll be running. Okay, so even if you don't do anything that I suggest to you here, maybe you might look up another video, maybe you just might fall upon something that might just work for you anyway. And it can be the most stupidest of things, just tiny things. But if it works for you, who's to say that's the wrong thing to do? The thing is about mental health is that it's subjective. Okay, so there might be similar symptoms through a group of people, but honestly, mental health and what people can handle, it's all subjective, and it's, at the end of the day, other than getting dark, it's subjective to every single person. Everyone is different, so whatever works for you might not work out for someone else. Whatever might work out for a mate of yours, they might suggest, if you take 5 minutes to try it and it doesn't work out, that's still okay, because that just might not be okay with you, or for you, should I say. Try to work out what is good for you, what you're comfortable with, because at the end of the day, that is what is going to work. And if it does work for you, then all you need to do is keep going. Just take that first step. So let me tell you, I myself am a culprit for this. You just lie in bed at night, you just sit there in a room silent, or you just take that extra bit too long in the bath or the shower, and all you're doing is having a conversation with yourself, and it's just that, oh my god, I should have said that earlier, why didn't I say that? Or what they said to me, I really don't like, and it's really upsetting, but you can't bring yourself to actually tell them that. And all you're doing is letting other people impose themselves onto you, and that's going to do your mental state no good. And the thing is, I'm not saying to go out and just start shouting at the person. Just take them aside and just say, look, I don't like the way you did that, or the way you said that to me. It's really hurtful, and I've actually lost a bit of sleep, and it's really playing my mind. So I just need to know for future reference. No harm done, but can you just please be a bit more vigilant with the kind of things that you're coming out with? Or something to that effect. Let's put it this way, the more you do that when it actually counts, or even if you don't and you go back and sort it out, it's just one less thing that's going to keep you up at night. Maybe you can actually start sleeping a bit easier. Okay, so one of the things that I've been accused of over the years is being a bit too egotistical. Now what I mean by that is that you can overcompensate. You might not necessarily think that you've done a good job, or whether you're the best thing since sliced bread or anything like that, but you might come across to others like that. But look, there is a fine line, and it's really difficult to know where that line is sometimes. But that's not to say that you shouldn't be patting yourself on the back every so often. Look, if you're in a situation where you're not getting any compliments from other people, you don't necessarily need to look to them. If you know that you've done a good job with something, or if you have good reason to pat yourself on the back, do it. Buy yourself a box of chocolates, have a beer, have a, I don't know, Jack Daniels and Coke or something. I don't know, just compliment yourself, because ultimately that's who you're doing it for, yourself. And you need to start giving yourself permission to actually feel good about the things that you accomplish. This might be the most difficult thing in the world to do, and yes, there are going to be some subject matters or some things that might even be bothering you from 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And yeah, I get it. There are some things that are that personal and that are that private. You're not going to tell anyone in a million years. I mean, my wife might hate me for saying this, but there are things that I don't tell her because it's just too painful to go back to. And that's okay. People are allowed to have secrets. But if there's something, if there is just one thing that is really upsetting you, that's really playing on your mind, and something that you don't feel that you have the strength or the tools or anything like that to be able to cope with it or deal with it, there's absolutely no shame in asking someone for help. Honestly, that's the best thing you can do. Even if that person can't actually help you anything, they might be able to point you in the direction of finding some help for yourself. Now, I can give you an example about this. I went to a friend of mine not too long ago. Okay, I say not too long ago. I think it's about a year or so now, and yeah, I feel so old. But even though she may have not been able to offer any help for me, she was able to point me in a direction and start calling some numbers, going onto some websites, and I've actually got the help I need now. So yeah, all that's really needed is to just pick up a phone, start texting, start Facebook messaging, start WhatsApping, whatever you do. Just take that first step and ask for help when you need it. Because the biggest crime of all is just keeping it in, keeping it bottled in, and all you're going to do is suffer, suffer, suffer when there's absolutely no need to. Again, like I said earlier in this video, if they're your friend, if they're your loved one, family, wife, husband, whoever it is, if they truly care about you, they would rather you ask for help rather than, worst case scenario, you not being around to ask for it. And there you have it. Even if I've helped one person today, I'm happy and I've done my job. What I'm also going to say now, and I'm going to add a post and add a link to the description below, I'm going to start doing my regular live streams. I've recently done a few over Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and they're all geared to fighting loneliness, fighting anxiety, fighting depression, fighting any kind of mental health condition that's going to really make you feel down, really feel bad. And you know what, at the very least, it's just an hour where you can just turn on YouTube and just have a bit of positivity for a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'll put a few links in the description for the ones that I've already done. As it stands, these events will be every Sunday. They'll be at 8:30 GMT, that's Greenwich Mean Time. They'll probably go on for about an hour or so, depending on how many comments I get, how long I can start rambling on for. And you know what, depending on the success of it, I might even start doing it twice a week, even that if it's at like a couple of weeks time, even if it's a month's time, year's time, whenever. And it's just a little something, so instead of just waiting for the next video to come out that you can just watch, it's nice to be able to tune in and actually engage and have that bit of interaction with people. So the link for the next event will be in the description below, as well as a link to my last few events, like the New Year's Day one, New Year's Eve, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, whenever I did it. And you can go through them and see if it's anything for you. I will also leave a link in the description for an online form that you can fill in. It's anonymous, it has no personal information that it's asking for. The closest to that is how old you are and what kind of mental health condition that you might have, and you don't necessarily need to do that if you don't want to. Just put down don't want to tell ya, you know. But it's something that I'm trying to collect information so that I can use it on the stream. So if you have a question to ask and you want to do it anonymously and you don't want to put it in the chat or anything like that, fill out one of these forms and then I'll see what I can do and I'll go through it when we have a live stream, okay? Even if it's just something like, I just can't get up this morning, or I can't approach people, or what do you do about this? Okay, again, I'm not a mental health or medical professional, but if I can help, if I can look for those answers and provide something for you, all I want to do is help. So yeah, fill out that form and let's see what we can do, okay? So all I would ask now is, if you like what you heard, like this video. If you want to hear more tips and hints about how to improve your mental state, why not consider subscribing to the channel? And if you want to keep up with the latest content, ring that notification bell. Because, well, it's like I always say, at the end of the day, it gets dark.